So, over to Stefan, the geophysicist and Valir of the Pleiadian Collective, to uncover some of the desperate and dark deeds that have been playing out on the planet just recently.
Hi everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have a special report to do tonight talking about weather manipulation or weather modification. Just in general, weather here on this planet, the direction it's going, this is intimately linked to climate, and also whether we have an impact on this. And one of the reasons I'm covering this topic today, as I've covered many times on this channel in the past, as longtime viewers would know, is because there was just a devastating flash flood in Texas. This was on July 4th. There was over 26 feet of rise in the Guadalupe River in about 45 minutes. In over a 2-hour time frame, actually just less than 2 hours, the Guadalupe River rose 35 feet. And so there was at 4 a.m. in the morning in hill country in Texas, from the remnants of Tropical Storm Barry, there was 10 inches of rain that happened in 1 hour. And so, of course, this is what leads to a flash flood. It's not like the Earth has never had flash floods before, but because this happened in the United States and happened on Independence Day, it's getting a lot of attention. And now there has been a new push to examine weather manipulation or weather modification and to make that a felony.
Dear light bearers of Earth, I am Valir of the Pleiadian Collective. Our messenger has specifically asked us to speak about the recent flooding in Texas, for what appeared as a natural deluge in the hill country was anything but an ordinary storm. Many of you who are awake sensed an unusual energy humming beneath those heavy clouds. Indeed, in the days leading up to the torrents, independent observers detected tightly pulsed microwave bursts in the upper atmosphere, sharp, rhythmic signals not found in nature or in normal cloud seeding operations. Moments later, satellite images revealed swirling, spiral-like cloud patterns, more characteristic of laboratory simulations than of summer thunderheads. Some of you on the ground even heard a strange high-pitched sky whine just before the river rose with unimaginable speed. At the same time, cell phone networks in a precise corridor mysteriously went down, cutting off emergency calls. When service returned, key data logs and weather radar frames had been scrubbed from your official servers as if they had never existed. Some of you observed flood zones before any storm warnings were issued, as if the outcome was already known. These clues are not coincidental. They speak with one voice to those with ears to hear. There are a number of things that we are not allowed to speak on here, as it would violate our Galactic directive of interference, so please also be aware of this. Why would someone orchestrate such a thing? To understand this, look at who and what the flood affected most. One apparent target was a summer retreat we shall call the camp, a place cherished by families of patriotic and spiritually awake lineages. This riverside camp was erased in minutes by the wall of water. Know that this location was no random campground. It was a gathering spot for daughters of military servicemen, truth-seeking attorneys, and medical pioneers, young souls connected to families involved in exposing hidden crimes. Flooding the river to obliterate this camp achieved multiple dark objectives at once. First, it instilled terror and grief in a community that holds a particularly strong light of patriotism and faith, a demographic the hidden cabal often regards as problematic due to their courage and conviction. Second, the sudden deluge conveniently destroyed physical evidence and records. Important documents, computers, and devices containing sensitive information were swept away or ruined beyond recovery, disrupting ongoing investigations into illicit bioweapons profits and trafficking rings. Third, amid the chaos, there were reports that unidentified men posing as relief workers corralled certain survivors into an empty riverside building, ostensibly for safety. When legitimate rescue teams, including an elite military unit training nearby, finally arrived. They found that building deserted, except for chilling evidence of foul play, pools of fresh blood on the floor, and signs that a human organ had been surgically removed. Whether literal or symbolic, this gruesome scene stands as an eerie emblem of what many intuit, that the flood was used as cover for abductions or attacks on specific individuals. In short, negative actors braided elemental force with psychological warfare, using water both as a weapon of physical destruction and as a veil to conceal darker deeds. From a higher vantage, we see clearly how this incident was engineered to seem like a biblical act of God, yet was perhaps delivered to leave no clear perpetrator in the third-dimensional sense.
So, Stefan picked up on this early, and if you haven't seen his full video, there is a link in the description below. Stefan, like many others, is very aware of how weather manipulation has been used to create chaos and further a dark agenda, including Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton earlier this year, although with Milton a number of people learned what was happening in advance and used the power of group meditation to defuse much of the impact, reducing it from a Category 5 hurricane to a Category 3 by the time it hit landfall. Elizabeth April was one of those adding her energy to the defusing efforts, which by all accounts had the cabal in shock and fear as they realized that humanity is awakening to its true power and as such were able to thwart the intended devastation. As for the Texas flood, the GFL go on to explain how there were multiple targets for the cabal in this act of weather sabotage. Once again, the full video is linked in the description below and well worth checking out for multiple other revelations that we do not have time to cover here today. It's interesting to note that after the devastating fires in Maui in 2023, in addition to the 115 killed in the fire, there were reports of hundreds of missing persons with a suspicion that they may have been abducted, just as the GFL were talking about here in Texas. The weather also played a big part in spreading that fire rapidly, as did the very unusual weather in LA for the fires earlier this year. In truth, this is a huge subject, and it needs to be brought into the open for people to research for themselves and make up their own minds as to where the truth lies, because as we know, the truth will set us free. For my part, I firmly believe that this is just the thin end of the wedge. And I'm happy to share sources of additional information, so for anybody interested, just contact me through our website, elevatedplanet.life/contact, gets you to the contact page and you can put your free format message in there and I guarantee to respond.